Cool. Can everybody see this? All right. Awesome. And did we already hit record? Yes.
I hit it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Morgan. We are live. All right. It's recording. All right. So let's get into this. Today's masterclass is going to be on 4-phase selling. And so this is something that has evolved over time. And my goal and intention when selling to people is to figure out what is going to be the most effective way to move people forward in a real, authentic way of creating trust, right? Because really sales and deals happen at the speed of trust. Now, what I recommend is over the next hour, if you really want to learn this and really absorb this material, I highly recommend that you don't multitask. Give a little bit of attention to this. You'll get a lot more out of this. I'm going to share some secrets that usually I only share with clients. I don't have the time to share everything that we teach when we're teaching clients how to pitch and how we help clients add hundreds of doors. To give you a little bit of background on me, to qualify myself and DoorGrow, I have been working with property managers for over a decade. I have generated millions of dollars in revenue doing sales myself. And I've helped lots of my clients generate millions of dollars in sales revenue or closing deals and getting on doors. We've helped some of our clients add 100, 200, 300, even 400 doors in less than a year without spending any money on advertising. And if you want more details on that, you can message Morgan on my team. She's here hanging out. You can message her in the chat directly. Just double click on her name or something or click on her in the corner and you can send her a chat message. But she can tell you all the details. She's one of our coaches here at DoorGrow. She's also been on our sales team and done sales for several years for us. She's really awesome. So, and Sarah's also in the chat, helping with things, helping with people. This is my wife. She is the COO of DoorGrow and also a brilliant coach. And she's helps cut some of our clients' staffing costs in half from a single phone call. She's helped find $100,000 in business for one of our clients just in like a week or two ago. She's really great at making businesses really profitable and systemizable. And this is stuff that we do with clients. So let's get into the topic at hand. And if you have some time towards the end, I'm going to share with you how you can maybe start working with us. We're very picky about the clients we work with, and we can answer any questions that anybody has about anything we talked about. I'm an open book and happy to support everyone that showed up here today in class. If you're watching the replay, you missed out. So, and let's get into this. All right. So 4-phase selling. So first, let's get into the high level framework. And I want you to understand these phases in a conversation that you're going to have with people in order to sell. And so phase 1 is going to be, and we're going to go high level, is going to be them. It's all about your prospect. Phase 2 is going to be all about you. All right. And can everyone make sure you're muted on the call unless you have questions? And then phase 3 is going to be all about your pitch. And then phase 4 is the close, or as I like to say, you ask, right? Where you ask. If you can just remember this simple framework, this will increase your close rate significantly. One of the big mistakes I see a lot of people make is they dive right into phase 2 or 3 prematurely without doing phase 1. And if you don't really understand your prospect, you don't really know what they need, you don't know their pain, you don't know what pleasure they want to move towards, then you are not going to be as effective at selling. And so this is where we start. We start with them, and we need to figure out what is driving their behavior? What actions are they trying to take? What are they trying to do? What do they want to accomplish? Now, something that mindset-wise I want to share with you that I think is very important to understand is that a lot of you are trying to sell property management. And so what I want, and I'm just going to abbreviate this because it's a long word, right? So what I want you to understand is that The goal is not to sell property management. Ironically, if you try to sell property management, you close less deals. Your prospects really don't give a shit about property management. They don't really care. They don't wake up in the morning and go, man, I'm excited to follow some social media accounts about property management today. I can't wait to see some property management stuff on TikTok. I'm so excited to learn and find a property management company. This is not how people are thinking. So what I want, one big hack I want you to understand, and this is a palm tree. I'm trying to make a palm tree here. And this is Hawaii, right? Not yet. This is the destination. And all right. And so, and then this is a really terribly drawn airplane. Okay, there you go. This is the airplane. So, and maybe people are trying to get to Hawaii, right? Now, if you go to a travel agent and you say, hey, I would like to get to Hawaii, first you need to know, okay, cool. The first thing they need to know is, where are you at currently? It's another island. I don't know, but maybe this is your home. So where are you at currently so that I can get you there? Now, what they will do if they're selling you on some sort of amazing vacation package, they're not probably going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the flight. So what I want you to understand is that property management is the flight. This is the vehicle to get people to the destination that they want. And most of you waste time selling the vehicle instead of focusing on the destination. So give me some thumbs up or some head nods if this is making sense. The secret to selling property management is to focus on the destination, but that means you need to know what they want, where they want to be, and what challenges they're dealing with currently, instead of focusing on selling property management. Nobody gives a care about the flight. They don't care about the trip. Like, oh, it's an amazing flight. They're like, we have this, we have seats, and we have some knee space and leg space, and you'll get a bag of peanuts, or probably not anymore because everybody's allergic to them for some reason, right? So you're not going to be talking about the flight, but you'll talk up the trip. And so if you talk up the destination and how you're going to help them get there, and the roadmap and what it's going to be like experiencing the benefits and the results of them working with you, that is what they want. They're not so concerned about that you're going to do the vacancy and maintenance and blah, 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 and all the features and benefits. So you don't need to spend as much time selling features and benefits. Now, I'll share another concept here, and this comes from Simon Sinek, and it's this golden circle thing. And I'm going to share another quick secret about selling. So most property managers, we've already talked about this, talk about property management. That's the what. This is what you do. We do leasing, we do maintenance, we do inspections, we do like all this stuff, right? Help you find a tenant. And then they might get into how, and how are your values, which allows people to trust you, and why is your motives. And then they might even get to this, but usually that's an afterthought and they don't. So they might be like, we manage properties, we do this, we do this. Oh, and we care about taking care of people, and these are our values, as an afterthought. And then, oh, by the way, like we want to, our motive, if we don't expressly state it, you're going to assume is making money off of us, right? And so there's the default assumption in sales. Everybody you talk to knows you want money. They know this. But the default assumption in sales is that that's all you care about. Unless you tell them there's something else you care about. You care about them. You care about taking care of people. You enjoy your job for some reason. You're doing this for some other motivator besides just money. The default assumption is you want money, and you're probably willing to do it as unethically as possible to get it. That's the default assumption in sales, unless you correct it. So how do we correct that negative motivator that you just want money as unethically maybe as possible? You're willing to be unethical. We get into the how, we get into the values. And but if we can go beyond just money, and you can share your motive or why beyond that, that's even more powerful. And so the more effective way to sell is to start with why, But even before why, if we had another little circle in here, is where, right? We just talked about the destination. Where do they want to go? Where, and that sort of thing. So the first thing is them. It's where. Then you're going to get into you and talk about your why. This is in phase 2. They want to know about your motive. Then you get into values, and then you get into what? So why do I do this? So let me tell you, my personal why is to inspire others to love true principles. And so what that means is I love learning, figuring out what works. I invest over 6 figures annually just into coaches and mentors, mastermind programs to be a part of, so that I can learn, because I love to feed that addiction of learning. And I love being able to turn around and share these things with other people. I would do it for free, for fun, and I get paid to do it. I'm doing it for free, for fun right now for all of you. And I enjoy doing this. That's my why. My business is a vehicle for me to experience my why. And the why of DoorGrow, our purpose of DoorGrow is to transform property management business owners and their businesses. This is our motive. We want to transform you and your business. We know that through you, we can have a massive ripple effect. We can affect hundreds of thousands of lives of owners and tenants that you have impact with, just by having a ripple impact through you, right? And that's inspiring and exciting to me and to my team. We believe in this vision. And as far as our values, we espouse, one of our big values is eliminating constraints in a business to create momentum. Another value is integrity, right? These are the things that we care about here at DoorGrow. And these are the things we teach our clients to care about as well. Oh, and by the way, what we do, we coach property management business owners to scale and grow their business. Okay. So notice this was an afterthought. If you're spending too much time talking about features and benefits and your prospect are asking a lot about the features and the benefits of the trip, you have failed to sell the trip. If they're asking about the flight, I mean, that you failed to talk about the destination, and you failed in this golden circle formula here of getting into where, why, how, what. So we want to do this in this order instead, the reverse order. It's far more effective. And many companies don't even do these 3 most important things. And so they're failing to really create trust. And all things being equal, 2 companies, if one goes from where they want to be, and then they get into their why, and they connect motives, and they get in how, and then into what, they're going to have a much higher close rate than most property management companies on the market, because most just talk about what. And if all you talk about is what, you now then are just a commodity, which means they just might as well find the person with the lowest price, who's got the least price, who's the cheapest. And then you're in a race to the bottom, because trust doesn't matter, and values don't matter, the destination doesn't matter, how the values don't matter. It's just who's cheapest, right? Because they assume, well, they want my money, so now I need to figure out how to micromanage this property management business owner. And so if you find they're asking a lot of questions about the features and benefits in the business, then what that means is they don't trust you, and they want to micromanage trust, and they want to artificially create trust by controlling you. And these are not going to be great clients. Their operational costs on these clients is going to be probably 10 times higher than a really great client that trusts you. And some of you have experienced that with some bad owners. All right. So comment in the chat if this is making sense so far, right? We've talked about the golden circle. We've talked about selling the destination instead of flight. And we talked about high level, the 4 phases. So, all right. So let's get into the 4 phases. So first, you want to identify and talk about them. And there's 2 things you want to figure out. There's 2 things that you want to achieve or find out. You want to find out their pain, and you want to find out their pleasure. By finding out these 2 things, pleasure, there we go. So by finding out these 2 things, what you do is this creates what's called a pain gap between where they are currently and where they want to be. And this pain gap is what allows you to sell, because your product or service is going to close and eliminate that pain gap. So if you don't first figure out what their pain gap is or create that, and they might be pretty comfortable managing their own property, they might not be super clear. So that means you now need to create awareness around how they currently have problems, or the things they aren't currently aware of, or that they might be missing, so that you can create the pain gap that they can't see currently. So for example, when I'm selling to clients, some of them think, well, I'm adding maybe a door a week, and we're maybe adding like 4 units a month, and we're doing okay. It's okay. And I'm like, cool. We've got clients that are adding sometimes 10, 20, 30 units a month. And that creates a bit of a pain gap. They're like, man, and I just say, what would that do for your business if you were doing that? They'd be like, that would be amazing. I would be making so much more money. I would have so much more bandwidth and time and freedom if I had all that additional revenue and I could build my team effectively, right? Or maybe they're currently dealing with a team and they're frustrated and they're struggling to get their team to be engaged, do everything, and their operational costs are really high. Cool. What if we could revamp your team, which we're really good at, cut your staffing costs in half, or get 3 times the output from your existing team members by properly aligning things? That creates a pain gap, right? So first, we want to figure out everything about them. And during phase 1, we want to learn about them, ask lots of questions, get familiar with them. This helps set up the game in which you are going to then be able to leverage a law called reciprocity. By being curious about them in phase 1, you'll be able to then get them to want to reciprocate naturally in phase 2, because you were very curious about them in phase 1. You showed that you cared. You showed interest. You figured out what their why is. You want to figure out their why. What's their motivation? What motivates them? And then we're going to go transition into phase 2. And you simply will be, the transition phrase will be something like, hey, thank you so much for sharing all of that stuff about you. It sounds like you really care about X, Y, and Z. I would love to tell you a little bit about me. Would that be okay? And they're going to say, yes, of course, because of that law of reciprocity. They need to reciprocate. They want to do that now for you. And nobody cares about you until you care about them first, typically. And so you've shown and demonstrated that. So then they're going to be listening to you. Now they'll actually hear what you say. And instead of going right into your pitch, you're going to talk about you. You need to talk about your why. And we coach clients on how to discover and get really strong clarity on a why statement, how to make that very effective, how to make sure it's true for you. And then we get into maybe how, and then what, right? What will be the pitch, right? So we're going to get into a bit about you and the biz, right? The business. This is phase 2. So you're going to talk about the company values. You're going to talk about how you go about doing things, which is your values, and what your motivators are. Now, the bridge between them and you, I often call the golden bridge. So I'm going to use orange because that's a color I've ready. So let me share a quick concept here. And there's this gap between you and them. And here's you. Here's them. And in order to, and here, we'll give you arms and a smiley face. All right. And so the thing to recognize is in your heart, your motive, what you love and what you desire, what you want to have, and what's in their heart. Sales happens when you can connect effectively these things through a golden thread, right? If you're able to connect these 2 things together, you're going to get deals. And so I call this the golden bridge, or golden bridge selling. Now, the bridge really is your business. Your business should be the vehicle or the thing that allows these 2 things to connect. Your true motives and their true motives in alignment means there's a deal. And that's done via the business. That is the vehicle. And so in order to do this, this is why it's important to share your why. And so the formula is your personal why, business why, and their why. And so this is actually, we help clients script this out. We help you do this. And this is the fastest way to authentically create trust very quickly with somebody, is to be super truthful and honest about why you do what you do. They already know you want money, but beyond money, what do you really want? What is your motivator, right? Getting into that. And so for example, I get fulfilled by being able to teach and to learn. And so my business is a natural extension of that. It allows me a vehicle to be able to teach and to learn. I can afford expensive coaches, and I get to turn around and share really cool stuff that I learn with clients. And that's fun for me. And so that allows people to trust my motive, because it's not just about making money. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm an entrepreneur like all of you. I love money. I do not hate money. But I have been a business owner that had a business in the past in which I made plenty of money, but I hated my day-to-day and I did not enjoy my life, right? And you may be in that position right now. That's something that's very fixable that we can help you with at DoorGrow, is shifting the business around you so that you're only doing and wearing the hats in the business that you most enjoy. But in order to do that, we first have to help you uncover your why, so that we can build the right business around you. Imagine it's a bunch of like weird puzzle pieces that we need to build around you. We have to make sure your piece is the correct piece, that you're not doing and wearing a bunch of hats, or that you at least know which hats you don't enjoy wearing, so that we can build the right team and the right systems and the right business around you. And many business owners get to 400 units or more, and they're more miserable than they've ever been in this industry. We can help you build that around you, but it starts by figuring out your personal why. Then we can build the right business that feeds your why. And then clients can then trust you, because you can authentically, without lying, say to them, hey, I love what I get to do. Here's why I love getting to do what I get to do, because my why is all about relationships and I get to be around people. Or my why is all about systems and I get to build out systems in my business. Or my why, whatever it is. And this is something we're really good at helping clients get clarity on, is this why. So, okay. Oops, I destroyed the bridge. All right. Now, once we have this and we have this authentic connection from us to them, now they trust you. We've created trust. Sales and deals happen at the speed of trust. It's not just about manipulation. It's not about NLP. It's not about tactics. I know all of this stuff. It's not just about, some sort of sales training. Really, the best salespeople in the world are good because they're great at trading trust. And creating trust is either done authentically or it's done in a fake manipulative way. And so if you can do this in the most authentic way, people can feel when you're honest with them. They can feel when you're sharing truth about why you really do what you do. Belief is transferable. And if you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe in your team and you don't believe in your business at a deep level, they will not feel that depth. I believe that in my business. I know DoorGrow is awesome. I don't think anyone can compete with us in what we do. Nobody moves as fast as us. Nobody has as good of systems. Nobody has nearly as many case studies as us. And that confidence, if you are not super effective at selling, then either you are not in alignment with your why, you don't believe it enough, or your business is out of alignment. And when you get these things in alignment, your ability to close increases dramatically. And you don't even have to be good at sales to do this. You share your why, you share your business why, and you connect it to your prospect's why. And it creates trust authentically. So even if you're terrible at selling, you're not super confident, you having these pieces has helped dramatically increase our clients' close rates. All right. So going back to so that's the golden bridge, which happens, in phase 2, we get into the golden bridge formula. Then we're going to go into phase 3, where we go into the pitch. So after you've talked about them, you've talked about you're going to have another transition statement here where you're going to say, hey, thank you for letting me share a bit about me and about my business and learning about you. It seems like we've got a lot of synergy. It seems like there's, this would be a good fit between the two of us. We don't work with everybody, but I think there's some, there's a good match here. would it be cool if I told you a little bit about how we could help you achieve X, Y, and Z that you had mentioned in phase one, right? Would it be cool if we got into basically the pitch, right? Now we're going to tell them about our product or our service and what we do. So then we get into the pitch. Now, I already did a masterclass on how to create the ultimate pitch. So if you want to go deeper into that, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to share that with you and get into how to create the ultimate pitch. I'll share a quick highlight of that right now and real simple. So the ultimate pitch is going to be based on what I call the 3 dominoes. In order to have the most effective sales pitch, you need to knock over 3 key challenges or objections or dominoes. And this is a concept I got from one of my mentors, Russell Brunson. But the first domino is basically the vehicle, right? We were talking about that bridge, which is your business, the vehicle. So the first is the vehicle. The second is internal beliefs. And the second is external beliefs that might be preventing them from becoming a client. If you knock all 3 dominoes over, there's no other logical conclusion left than they should work with you, with your company. Your management company is the best, and it's the only logical conclusion that's left over. So how do we do that? The first, most important is the vehicle. So in order to knock over that first domino, we have to destroy all the alternate vehicles. We need to throw stones at every other option, right? So for as a property management business coach, the alternate vehicles that you might have to grow your business or to learn how to grow your business might be like internet marketing or social media marketing or pay-per-click or content marketing or any of these cold lead marketing channels. That's a super easy domino for me to destroy and knock over, right? And throw stones at, because cold leads typically, all that stuff combined, cold lead marketing typically only has a 10% or less close rate. Whereas word of mouth and warm leads has a 90% close rate. And these are the strategies we get clients to focus on. We have them kill all the time, energy, and money that they're wasting on cold lead advertising and marketing. And we get them to focus on warm lead channels, and they start adding doors way faster, and they decrease their marketing and ad spend to 0 from instead spending thousands on wasteful things like SEO, pay-per-click, et cetera. Now, can those strategies work? Yes, of course, but they're not as effective as word of mouth or warm leads or some of the strategies that we employ with our clients, right? So I throw stones at all the other vehicles. For you, one of the big vehicles might be, and you can map all of these out, it might be DIY, like they're doing it themselves, right? 70% of owners of rental properties out there are self-managing. There's no scarcity in this industry. There's tons of available business out there. They're just not looking on the internet. So SEO, pay-per-click, content marketing, social media marketing, pay-per-lead services like APM are not going to capture the best clients. They're going to capture the shittiest, worst ones that are at the end of the sales cycle that now view you as a commodity and fill out the scraps that fell off the word of mouth table and what's left over. You're going to have a much higher operational cost with those type of owners, right? Now, so we've got DIY. What are some other vehicles? Maybe they're using their real estate agent who's dabbling in property management and is terrible at it and might be even doing it for free. So they just keep real estate deals. They're dabbling with helping them with leases. Maybe, what are some other vehicles, alternate vehicles people use for property management?
Like the big box companies.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you're not one of the big box companies. So it's like some big franchise or some company that has thousands of doors where you're kind of just a number. Maybe, whatever you view as a competitor, right? Now, the advantage you have here is that most property management companies suck. Most of your competitors, if you're honest, you probably have looked at them. Most of them suck. And we all know this. Most property management companies suck. And there's a good reason for that. Hopefully you're not one of them. But everybody that comes to me says they started their property management business because all the other companies in their market sucked and they thought they could do it better, right? And usually most businesses become the next sucky company because there's some common pitfalls that everybody kind of falls into, that the industry tends to all do the same. Unless they become our client. And so we want to get everyone out of that cycle of suck. But most of the industry in aggregate are caught in the cycle of suck. They take on any owner, they have crappy clients, then they attract crappy properties, and then they have crappy tenants. Even if they do all the tenant screening in the world, these tenants are frustrated because the owners are pushing back on things or making things difficult. And then you have a crappy reputation on Yelp and Google and everywhere else. And there's ways of dealing with all this, but otherwise you end up attracting more crappy clients, right? And there's ways of getting the best stuff instead. And so we end up with this vehicle. We first got to knock over the vehicle. Once this vehicle domino is left over, they know the only vehicle that makes sense for them to be using or working with is you. You're the best vehicle. You're the only one left standing. If you cannot honestly, with integrity, destroy all the other vehicles, you need to improve your business and your product. So this is step one, is you have to destroy all the alternate vehicles in your market and figure out what are everything you're competing with. And then the logical conclusion is that they need your vehicle. You're the only one left. Next, we need to deal with internal beliefs. So we've got that done. Next is internal beliefs. And so with internal beliefs, these are anything that is making them personally, their beliefs, their mindset, making them feel unsafe or insecure. That might be, I don't know whether or not I'm going to get a good deal from you on maintenance. I don't know if you're going to like do X, Y, and Z to me, right? So there's all these internal beliefs they're worried about. They don't know enough. They're not confident enough. They're not educated enough. And so you have to map out and figure out what are all their internal beliefs, figure that out. How can you support them? So we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail here. The next is the external beliefs. The last domino. This is like, what if COVID hits again? Or what about the real estate market if it tanks? Or what if the Airbnb market collapses here? Or, I've got a short term, or whatever it is, right? What if Blackstone comes in and buys up all the properties and marks rent up, and I can't or whatever, right? Whatever might be happening in the marketplace, they're concerned about, or they saw on TikTok, or they heard about on the news, whatever fears, external factors, you need to figure out all those and deal with those objections. Now, if you're able to deal with all of these dominoes and knock them over, the only logical conclusion they have left is they need to work with you. You're the only one that can help them with the internal beliefs, the external beliefs, and the vehicle. You've got the best of everything. How do we do that at DoorGrow? Well, we know our clients, we know their fears and concerns. So with internal beliefs, we know that we can destroy a lot of the internal fears and concerns because of the support mechanisms and systems that we put in place with our team. They might be concerned, how will I know what to do, or who's going to hold my hand? We have coaches for that. We have systems for that. You can message me anytime on Telegram. We have all these pieces in place to deal with the external beliefs, right? Or the internal beliefs. External beliefs, this might be like, well, what if this won't work in my market because I'm rural? Or are there rental properties there? Can you even build a business there? If so, we can help you, right? Or what if we're in a big city market and it's super competitive? Awesome. There's no scarcity. 70% are self-managing, and all of your competitors are probably focused on the least effective strategies in doing internet marketing. And while 70% are self-managing, there's tons of available business. Let's go capture that, and you'll grow faster than all of them, right? So you need to know how to deal with all of these different dominoes and knock them over. Then you have the ultimate pitch. So if you map this out, you can put all of this together in a pitch deck. I also did a masterclass on creating a pitch deck, sharing how I built mine, and sharing with you the psychological hacks that go into that so that you can have an effective pitch. You can also check that out. Next is the ask. So here, this is where we close, right? This is where we close. And the goal in this stage is to ask. Now, a lot of you are like, maybe feel uncomfortable asking sometimes. Hey, but if you don't ask, and this is the big secret I want to share today, is if you ask, then any objections you missed during the pitch will come out. They will either say, yes, let's get started. Let's sign up right now. So is there anything that would prevent you from getting started today? Then they're going to bring up, well, actually, yeah, I have another question. And then you can start to destroy each of those. So if you don't ask, you often don't get the objection. If your ask is basically, well, I'll send you over our proposal, they're like, just send me your proposal. I'll look over it. I'll look over your agreement and maybe I'll sign it later. That's a really shitty end to a good sales pitch, right? It's super ineffective. You're then put into this needy, creepy stage of following up and looking low value. And hey, did you have a chance to look over the agreement yet? Did you sign it? And now you're losing safety and certainty in their mind. Like you're not as safe of a bet. You look low value to them and you look needy and creepy in sales, right? And nobody wants somebody that's needy and creepy to be managing their rental property, right? So we want to make sure we have the ask and we then can start to deal with the objections. So this is where the real objection handling starts. So then you're going to deal with objections, and over time you'll get better and better at this and you'll know how to deal with all these. And then you will eventually move these into your pitch so that you deal with those objections before they even come up. So that by the end, they're like, yes, I'm ready to go. It takes way less time if they're in this area than if you're having to kind of scrape and dig it out of them during this stage and try and uncover it and try and get them to feel safe and warm up. Now, if you do this stage effectively, talking about yourself and really create the trust, they will actually share with you the objections. They'll know that you're not there just to squeeze money out of them. It's going to destroy a lot of their objections, because the one biggest objection, period, the only real true objection at the root is trust. Can they trust you? If they trust you, then they know your pricing is going to be fair. They know that the different things that you're doing are going to be fair. They know that you aren't there just to squeeze money out of them, and you're not unethical because you shared your values, right? So it's all about trust is the primary main objective. And if you get into a situation where they're talking about all of the features and benefits and asking you tons of questions, how do you deal with inspections, or how do you do evictions, or what do you do if this happens? Then that's a clue that you did not create enough trust for them to trust you, right? And so you can always take it back to that. I can answer all these questions, happy to, but what I find is when people there's a million questions you could ask and you'll never be able to have every answer. And I could just make stuff up. The real question you really have deep down is, can you trust me? So let me tell you a little bit more about me and my team and why we do what we do. Okay. So this is the 4 phases, this crazy drawing here. And if you go through this stage, you may find some objections that are going to take more time. You can set up another conversation. And we talk about a lot more in our sales secrets training that our clients get access to. But here's kind of high level on the pitch. And now, those of you that are still hanging out, I'll tell you, hopefully this is super valuable. I shared several awesome frameworks here that I think would be a game changer for your business and could double your close rate. I'll tell you a little bit about our program and how you can maybe work with us, if that sounds interesting. So we have a mastermind, which is a group coaching program. And we call it the DoorGrow, DoorGrow and Scale Mastermind. And in it, we have a couple of different options. We have several, but I'll talk about 2. And so we have our light and we have our super system. And so depending on where you're at in your business, usually the dividing line here is usually about 20K in revenue. Once you hit that, it makes sense to go to this level, or you have maybe about 200 units, 200 doors. It makes sense. Usually at that point, the challenges, and so we'll talk about the challenges with light. Usually the challenges in the beginning are you need doors. You want to grow. Maybe you haven't broken the 100-door barrier, which can be really tough for some. Maybe you haven't broken the 200-door barrier, but you need doors. That's your focus. A lot of times at this stage, you're caught in what I call the cycle of suck, which I briefly touched on. You have a lot of bad doors in your portfolio, sometimes is an issue, maybe some bad owners. Other challenges at this stage is usually you have several leaks in your sales pipeline that are preventing leads from working. So even if you pay a ton of money to get a bunch of leads, and the way I usually draw this out is I usually draw a hose, and at the outset of this hose, you're trying to get some water, but usually it's connected to a faucet. I'm going to try and draw a faucet here, but these are the handles. All right. And it's connected to this faucet, but the problem is there's several major leaks. And so there's 6 major leaks that we find in a business. And some of those, these are also things we help in this stage. We help with branding. You might be branded as a real estate company, which could be costing you half the deals and leads you could be getting. You might be, there might be issues with your website. You can test that by going to doorgrow.com/quiz. Most websites, even from our biggest competitor, PMW, are hemorrhaging money and missing out on leads. So you can check that out. We include a website in our program. We do branding, rebranding of companies in our program. We're the world leaders at this. We've rebranded hundreds of companies. Other challenges, other leaks is your pitch. We talked a little bit about that today. Another is purpose, which is the leak of the why and building the business and the team around you. That is a big deal. We get into perception. This is focusing on reviews and making that super effective and getting video testimonials, how to make all that work. And there's one more. Pricing. Oh, clients love this. Most of you are probably priced like 10% or some sort of flat fee in your market. Our clients are closing more deals more easily at a higher price point by leveraging our 3-tier hybrid model and some of the effective psychology around that. So we change everybody's pricing when they come into our program and improve it. So they are making more money off their existing doors and closing more deals more easily and getting more better doors, and by using a model that incentivizes better doors that have lower operational cost. So you have more profit margin, significantly more profit. So we want to shore up all these leaks. We call that program the Rapid Revamp. This is usually where we take people through during the first 90 days. In the program, then we have our Growth Accelerator. And I'm just going to abbreviate it, but the Growth Accelerator is all about adding doors. And we focus on strategies that are organic, guerrilla marketing that help our clients add hundreds of doors, spend less time, get more warm leads, and close more deals quicker than even the most expensive marketing companies. There's companies that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars doing marketing. So that's the light program. Super System includes all of that. But where super system clients, usually their challenges is they are struggling with systems. I often hear these business owners say, we're working on processes. We just need more processes. And there's 3 key systems we usually help install, but the super system is a combination of a lot of different systems that we're building into the business that we help you install. We have some very cool software tools and things like this as well that nobody else on the market has. And we also have some additional coaches that are experts, but one of the big things we do here is we focus on making sure you get the right team. We sometimes are replacing entire teams for property managers so that you know you have the wrong team. I'm just going to point this out to anybody here. You have the wrong team if you currently are still wearing, you have 200 doors and you're still wearing a lot of hats in the business you don't love to wear. That means you built the wrong team. Usually this means you built the team around what the business needed and you didn't build it around you and what you need and your why. So we're really good at restructuring teams, especially Sarah here to my right. We help focus on teams. We focus on systems, and this helps get your business to the next level. There's 3 key systems that we need to install, which is the people system, hiring, vetting the team, make sure the right people are matching what we call the 3 fits of personality fit, skill fit, and culture fit, the most important culture fit on the business. Culture is related to this. And then we're installing also a planning system so that you get the team focused on the strategic goals of the business and the growth instead of just being micromanaged and trying to give them tasks to do, that they're now innovating and helping move the business forward with a good planning system so that the team are achieving goals. And then people, planning, and process system. And so the process system, there's 3 levels to this: process documentation. Second level is checklists. That'd be maybe something kind of like Process Street or Lead Simple. And then there's the 3rd level, which is amazing that we have, which is DoorGrow Flow. And this is where it actually is visual flowchart software that your team can see, and it creates a ton of clarity, and it's workflow. Workflow is the next level. And that's where we want to build a really good process system. And so these 3 systems, if you have these, your business becomes infinitely scalable. It means no matter how fast you're adding doors, you hire full-time BDM, you start using all of our strategies, you're adding 200-300 doors a year, your business can handle any level of growth. You go acquire another company that's 200-300 doors, you can handle eating that other business because you have a system that makes your business infinitely more profitable than companies that do not have these 3 systems, and infinitely more scalable. And so these are the 3 key systems you need at this level. And if you're feeling a lot of pain, and you're over 200 doors, maybe even have 1,000 doors, but you're feeling some pain, you want to be far more profitable. These are the 3 most profitable things you can do in your business. Better than KPIs, better than metrics, better than micromanaging. These 3 systems will make your business far more profitable. Sarah had 60% plus profit margin in her business. She had 260 units before, somewhere like that, before she sold it. And we can help you significantly increase your profit margin. So these are the different levels of the mastermind. We might, at the time when you watch this recording, this webinar, we might have some sort of deal going on, but typically this is $24K for the year. No deals going on. Normally there's a $4K setup fee. Sometimes we have a deal related to that, but there's a $4K setup fee, and it's $24K for the year. And this is $12K for the year. Our goal is to be your cheapest team member that makes you the most money. And so get on a call with our team. We do have some payment options, stuff like that as well, but easily we'll help you get an ROI on this and help you grow and scale your business. We're really good at this. And we've got a lot of people in our mastermind and they're crushing it. So that's basically that. I'm happy to hang out for a few minutes. We got done 7 minutes early. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer. I will go ahead and stop the recording right now. And I'm happy to hang out here for the next couple of minutes with anybody that wants to ask questions. All right.